So a couple things on this. I remember reading at the time and then watching in that documentary, Jeffrey Epstein, Filthy Rich, on Netflix, that, because the first investigation started at the local level in West Palm Beach in Florida. Local authorities, local PD, local detectives. And by the time they finally got a search warrant to search Jeffrey Epstein's West Palm Beach mansion, and there's photos of this in that documentary. Hard drives had been ripped out, empty desk drawers were open. So basically, like, all the computers, all the hard drives, all the video evidence that would have existed had been removed from the residence before the police entered with their search warrant. They got a lot of documentary evidence from that scene in West Palm Beach, but I don't think that they got any video or computer evidence from that scene. But, Epstein had his mansion in West Palm Beach, his home in Manhattan on the Upper East Side. Obviously, he had Epstein Island. He had a ranch in New Mexico, and he had a home in Paris as well. And I know that when the authorities searched his Manhattan home, they broke into it after he'd been arrested. They did confiscate huge troves of videos, DVDs, computers, hard drives, all of that kind of digital evidence. Presumably, they did the same thing at his other residences, including Epstein Island, his ranch in New Mexico, and his home in Paris. And and again, it's like Pam Bondi earlier this year said that there were thousands and thousands and thousands of videos from these homes and from what people did inside these homes to teenage girls. She said that. And then yesterday she fired James Comey's daughter, who was a prosecutor for the Department of Justice, who had been prosecuting the Epstein case as well as the Ghislaine Maxwell case. And Comey's daughter doesn't work for the DOJ anymore. I don't know what the requirements are on her, ethical or otherwise, as far as keeping silent on this. She presumably saw every piece of evidence that exists, and they just fired her because she's James Comey's daughter. But again, it's like, that's part of the point that I made in a video earlier this morning. Almost every single person who was involved in the things that Jeffrey Epstein was doing at these 5 residences around the world, almost every single one of those people, including almost every victim and survivor, are still alive. His most prominent accuser, Virginia Giuffre, formerly Virginia Roberts, if you go back and watch that documentary, she was very outspoken. She filed civil suits. She worked on behalf of a lot of the other victims. She took her own life earlier this year, tragically and horrifically. But Comey's daughter's still alive. I doubt there's another person on the planet who has more knowledge of what evidence is actually in the Epstein file than her. She was the prosecutor against Jeffrey Epstein on that case and against Ghislaine Maxwell, who is still alive and who is still in prison and who wants to talk to Congress. There are a ton of people who have a ton of evidence in this case. And to think that because Trump says that there is no Epstein client list, that information is now lost to history is crazy. All of these people are still alive, except for Jeffrey Epstein and Virginia Giuffre. They're all still here and available to talk to the press.